Eric, this is a testament that if you harass someone long enough on the internet, it works. Because we have none other than Joe Rogan. Well, we're appearing on his podcast, but he decided to do something special for us. I wasn't really listening. It's not one of my qualities. Where I'm not sure if he said, "Don't release this," or "Don't release the full episode." And I think, using your principle of charity, we're taking the most charitable interpretation of what he said, and that is to leak the highlights of us appearing for the 100th episode of Iron Culture on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost positive he said, "Don't release this." Seriously, how did you get in here?
Oh, right. Yep.
But I heard it I saw the principle of charity. We've talked about it before in Iron Culture. Right. It means that you interpret things in the most charitable way towards yourself. And don't fact check that, please. So what I heard was with a more "Oh my God, this is crazy. Don't release this episode. It's going to break the internet. This is going to be great." And we thought, you know what, he's surely going to drop this pretty soon. It's been a little while. This actually happened around episode 75.
Sure.
And we've just been kind of delaying it, hoping that his episode would come out soon. And I know he's just waiting to really drop the hammer with this one. But we figured, hey, episode 100, we can just release the highlights. So we'll be the teaser to Joe Rogan having us on. Some might ask, how does that work to have a podcast to come on a podcast? Whose podcast is it? And I say, you
free market, baby.
Think so deeply. Yeah. Sure, that or just chill out, man.
I didn't want to fanboy out when I met you, but I'm a huge fan.
Mr. Joseph James Rogan. It is a distinct pleasure to be on the only other truly independent podcast left online. I mean, big media distorts the truth, and here you are, a shining beacon in the darkness, so we salute you.
Another thing to salute you on, by the way, Joe, is that huge $100 million Spotify deal. I mean, talk about getting the payout. Some might say you're selling out, but what do you want to do with anything you're selling in the free market? You want to sell out of that. So are you selling out or are you selling out? You know what I'm saying? So well done.
Yeah, it's a podcast. You can do anything.
Much respect to you. And Eric, if I could just fanboy for a little bit right here. I looked up to you, Joe, ever since Fear Factor, where I saw contestants eating bull testicles. And I thought to myself, hey, I want to do that too. Host Fear Factor, that is.
So originally taurine was extracted that way, but it is an ingredient in bull semen.
Okay.
So the taurine in Red Bull probably doesn't come from bull semen, but taurine is in bull semen.
And if I may, small tangent, we're melding worlds here, and history, science, culture, and this might be like history, science, DMT, something like that, whatever. But on the history note, speaking of bull testicles, Joe, you might be interested to hear this, but original Iron Game enthusiasts, they actually used to eat bull testicles to try to increase their testosterone. Probably didn't work, but hey, thought you might be interested in something like that, bud.
It's entirely possible.
It's a full 360 opportunity, so I just started and ended up in the exact same position, being here on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Let me ask you this. Is it better to just let the deadlift? I was going to ask you, because of that, when he deadlifts, he drops it go. Yeah. Is that the best way to do it?
Good question. And I know that we talked to you about this before we came on, but I'm sure this is just for the audience.
For the audience.
But yeah, of course. But Iron Culture, like I said, history, science, culture, it's all about unifying the various disciplines within the Iron Game. So we've got powerlifters, we've got weightlifters, we've got bodybuilders, we've got even some Highland Games competitors.
I'm fascinated by wolves.
And we've got historians and scientists all coming together to kind of discuss what lifting means, so we can help people just really have that lifelong relationship with the iron.
Chimps attack people, they rip your dick off. And they're like, yeah, no, we don't trust you.
Yeah, Joe, it's kind of like what you do with the Joe Rogan Experience, from having conspiracy theorists to really out there conspiracy theorists to just people that are batshit crazy, bringing them all together, unifying them all under the same roof. That's the goal of Iron Culture, right? To unify all lifters.
People are dealing with a lot of various health issues, and they're always trying to pin one cause of these health issues.
Yeah.
And one of the real problems is when people develop these ideological answers. Sorry, I went running today. For some reason, I can't stop coughing. Inflammation, the big difference is when I eat a lot of carbs, if I go off the rails and I'll cheat and have pasta or bread or something like that, I experience more inflammation. I experience more soreness in my joints. You get more fatigue. You get, like tired. You get that insulin crash. You get all those big factors that I just don't get when I eat clean.
That's an interesting anecdote, and it's not one to dismiss. Even though it is an anecdote.
I see anybody come in and try to fight on a ketogenic diet, because I know quite a few guys were doing that for a while. I know Brian Caraway did it.
I think when you think about the demands of mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu, there's probably some glycolytic demands where someone would benefit from a higher carb diet. That said, I could absolutely see if someone has GI distress and eats a certain way, or especially if they find they can walk around with a slightly lower body weight, being on a low carb diet, they can make weight using a higher fat, lower carb approach. But I think it would probably be pretty individual rather than for the whole sport.
You know what I've had that I fucking love? Sourdough bread with grass-fed butter and honey. Honey on top of the butter? Oh, Jesus.
With all fuck it, we tried, Eric.
So these studies that come out like that, they're really annoying, because it's like you have to you talk to people about it, and you have to like sit down with them. Okay, sit down. Okay, this is a long process. Yeah. Like to try to figure out what is the cause of these issues. You're talking about a lifetime of abuse. You're talking about like all sorts of different health consequences of a variety of different foods, and you're attributing it all to one part of your diet. And that's very difficult to do unless you've isolated everything else and done a bunch of different studies where, okay, I ate nothing but fruits and vegetables, and I ate really healthy, and I ate red meat 5 days a week. Or I ate nothing but shit and fries and buns and pasta, and I didn't eat red meat.
Joe, if we could confess something, we also think science is lame, okay? We just use it to get absolutely filthy rich. I mean, we are filming here in our mansions. We try and pretend to be humble where we film, in Eric's workspace and my bedroom, respectively. And we talk about, controlled trials, meta-analyses, careful interpretation of the data. But really, when people ask for our body of evidence, that's when Eric and myself just disrobe and say, here's your body of evidence for you. So we're with you. Science, it makes you lame. It actually makes you stupider. And let's face it, it lowers probably your testosterone.
I had a friend, my friend Brian, who lived in Boston, was a natural bodybuilder. And he was very dedicated, and he was like legitimate natural bodybuilder. He worked out very hard. He ate very clean, and he was like super, super dedicated. And you would swear he was on steroids. He was big. I mean, like big, giant arms, like really thick guy.
I mean, to be honest, the best way to use science is just to support things that you already believe, because basically you start with the conclusion, because you know what's true. We have eyes, we have ears, and we have the internet.
Thinking about more possibilities. I mean, that's what people call paranoia.
The three senses God gave us. So when we know something to be true, it's true. The next step is just convincing others, or more importantly, just making fun of them online. And that's where science comes in handy. You just go to that Google Scholar, you type in the words you like, find something that seems to loosely represent it, doesn't actually have to, and just drop that link on them like, bam.
You don't think that women look at like pro athletes and like big, strong, athletic men, and you don't think they're drawn to that for evolutionary reasons?
You know, it's a shame in this day and age that we can't really exemplify our true alpha nature. And if I could just get a little political here, if this is truly free speech right here, Eric, I think let's do it, man. This is our opportunity to make it big. I think Joe would be very much down with our Masculinity in Crisis tour, the Out Alpha tour. Can you please explain what that is, Eric?
Look, there's a great Henry Thoreau quote that most men live lives of quiet desperation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we all know that the ability to dominate others is being suppressed in our society. We know that in all free societies that value democracy, that value patriotism, that it is all about the strongest surviving and suppressing others. Tyranny of not even the majority, tyranny of whoever is the strongest.
Right.
And you know, if that's not the way of the free world, the way of the future, I don't know what is. So we're trying to have to deal with this suppression in our society of the only true mentality that matters is that I'm right and you're wrong, because I am more attractive or more muscular.
Well, you can't be good at everything.
So
That's factual. That's factual.
You know, this whole thing, we're calling it the Masculinity in Crisis Tour, and we know that a top-down co-rulership system is really what we need to bring the salvation to the world. So we're, there's no secret, but Iron Culture is let's say a like-minded group of devout individuals for this mentality. But that said, we do have affiliates. You can't be at the top of the pyramid,
No
but
way.
absolutely adjacent to it, 100%.
Yeah, Eric, and just to be clear, Rogan, you would absolutely not be alpha because that's something you can't even, you want to aspire towards it. It's kind of an illusory goal that you think you can attain. But myself and Eric picture a pyramid, okay, the most classical structure. And just picture us up top, holding hands, disrobed, just looking amazing. Okay, you're actually dazzled both by the light and simultaneously that which you see. And so depending upon your contribution, you're on some sort of level of the pyramid. Who can say, because we don't know what you're willing to donate, but what you donate is your respective order in our hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if you think about what would be more disastrous to society than actually being able to achieve something you set out to do, we got to keep that carrot. Because if there's no carrot, only thing left is the stick. And Omar and I are up at the top, holding each other's sticks.
Does happen sometimes.
We try to reserve those, and we're just dangling our carrots in front of you. So that's kind of our philosophy, just to keep things progressing in the right direction.
The story of Moses and the burning bush to the acacia bush and the acacia tree, which is rich in DMT. Have you ever done DMT?
Have you ever tried creatine monohydrate? I mean, with proper supplementation, you can increase your ATP creatine phosphate stores, being more powerful, more explosive, a better, more dominant athlete.
And also, and this is going to be specifically applying to you, Joe, it's also great for people with head injuries. There's a lot of data out these days that it is useful and has neuroprotective effects. So it's fantastic for the brain. It may help people with post-concussion syndrome, may even be protective and also rehabilitative. So fantastic for fighters. Definitely want to link into it.
So Alex films these people worshiping Moloch the owl god. Holy shit. Jamie, pull that video up.
No, I mean, Joe, I think you're very astute. And people call them conspiracy theories. I call them just the truth. And sure, we can all be fearful of the megalithic corporate cabals that are eventually going to rule us all. Not Spotify, they're benevolent. But I think you'd be very interested in knowing a few things about us where I don't want to say we found the truth, Eric, but we found the truth, the one eternal truth. Our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, and let's just say that we found duality as well to look at Taoism. So yes, there is a malevolent demon who's going to rule the worlds and use our beheaded bodies as his army.
Definitely not crazy.
But at the same time, there's also Dave Draper, who looks amazing, is awesome, a fantastic writer, and has just been lifting weights for the pure joy of lifting weights for his whole life.
Well, there's a guy who died recently who was famous for looking ridiculous. His name is Rich Piana.
So we're currently in this almost, I don't know, we're like the linchpin, the push-pull between these two forces. We are the yin-yang, and we're just trying to keep a little bit of black in our white, a little bit of white in our black, and hey, man, if you like conspiracy theories, there's no better one than an eternal battle between a demon and an old school bodybuilder.
We're in like this wave of like being evolved and not being evolved at the same time. Like,
Wow, Eric. I mean, I knew we had some highlights, and that's the tip of the proverbial iceberg. We have so much more. I just can't wait for Joe to release it. Weirdly enough, when I try and message him now, it doesn't go through. But again, I could only interpret that as maybe it's one of those hierarchy things where he's trying to vie for control from us, and he'll never replace us. And he shouldn't even fathom that. If he will, we will absolutely crush him. But needless to say, it was a distinct honor on his part to have us on the podcast, and I thought it went well.
Yeah, I don't know if he blocked you or maybe he's just playing hard to get or big dogging you, but I just can't wait until the full 5.5 hour long episode comes out. Now, we've been saying that internally since about mid-year, but I'm suspecting it's either COVID or a distant second possibility would be that we, locked ourselves in his office for those 5.5 hours, and the first 5 hours were his staff trying to get us out, and the last 30 minutes were him acquiescing to give us what we demanded. But you know how it is with first-time meetings. It's difficult to read people. I'm not sure if he was actually bothered. So I'm expecting this is going to come out and just be fire. And maybe he's just not ready for it. Maybe he, like Spotify's like, hey, we want slow, steady growth. We don't want to be this meteoric comet. We don't want to be Icarus.
No.
So maybe that's it.
Yeah, Eric, when he started whimpering and said, please don't kill me, and he pissed himself, I think that was him just allowing us to exert our dominance over him. And I'm sure what the staff said about legal ramifications, yada, yada, yada. I think we're just very persuasive. And if we're not persuasive, we know someone who's even more persuasive than we are.
Yeah, but we'll keep that on the DL.
Oh. And in all seriousness, I do want to say, folks, we want to do something just a little special for you because, we like the banter. Consider us your favorite drama teachers who never actually got a degree in drama or education. Here, just improvising in front of you. We wanted to combine some different threads that we've had for quite some time. We have a very serious 100th episode reflection coming out, another episode, the full episode, this Thursday, so look out for that. And I just want to say a thank you, a sincere thank you to every single person who's listened throughout the last, basically, Eric, 2 years and has made Iron Culture what it is today, where we truly, to be serious once again for a second, have experienced organic growth, where we share it, we share it internally with the people that follow us, but it's growing faster than us merely sharing it, which means other people are telling other people about it.
No, in all seriousness, this will either be the beautiful start to 2021 or us not realizing that there is some type of copyright infringement from making this this mishmash episode and then being forced to stop at 100. But either way, we had a good ride, folks. And in all seriousness, this was something that Omar and I conceived of, and it's become like so much cooler than we thought it would be. And we thought it was going to be cool. So I just want to say huge thanks to everyone for letting us invade your ears for 1 to 2 hours at a time every Monday. We truly appreciate it, and we hope you have benefited from it. And thank you for allowing us to have this platform.